All right, welcome back to the Nadlan Forum Podcast Daily. I'm Ruby Sturt and I'm here with Lior as always. Lior, I've got to be honest, I haven't heard the word upheaval used so many times in 1 week since, well, probably never. But that is exactly what's going down at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau this year. Staff cuts everywhere, leadership flipped around, and, get this, some pretty wild reversals of settlements.
Yeah, it's basically unprecedented, right? All these moves, they kind of slowed down the whole bureau. Like, I actually remember under Trump, there was always this tension with the CFPB. But what we're seeing now is on a whole other level. Terminating so much of the workforce, it's got a lot of people really nervous. I've had a bunch of clients asking me whether their complaints or cases are just gone overnight.
It's really shaken people. I had a guy literally call me while he was standing in the middle of an open house, panicking, wondering, who do I call if my mortgage lender pulls something dodgy? And I was like, mate, I'd love to say CFPB, but... And with all these cases being withdrawn or settlements rolled back, there's just so much less certainty. Consumer advocates are saying it goes totally against what the Bureau's supposed to do, protect the public. State regulators are scrambling too.
And, it affects day-to-day stuff, not just these big dramatic cases. If you've got a mortgage question or, let's say, a complaint against a bank, it's going to take a lot longer to get any help. The operations are like crawling right now. And the leadership shakeups? That's not helping anyone figure out where the priorities really are. The message from the top is, we need to balance things out. But a lot of people aren't convinced.
Totally. There are just so many people on edge, especially in the real estate and mortgage world, obviously, which is pretty much our entire audience. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. The source of all this panic are these unprecedented moves, terminating settlements, slow-walking investigations, and making people question if the CFPB can actually deliver on its watchdog promise anymore.
So, with all these cases getting tossed out, we're not talking about small potatoes. The estimates are saying, what? $3 billion in consumer restitution is now at risk. Something like that. A lot of it's tied to companies accused of predatory lending or really shady credit practices. I have to say, here in New York, we've already seen the state attorney general step in on a case that the CFPB dropped. It's messy, it's expensive, it's just not efficient.
And the activists, they're not holding back at all. They're warning that without CFPB showing its teeth, dodgy players will just do what they want. Richard Cordray, who was the first director, basically said rolling back these cases gets rid of any accountability and lets systemic issues simmer. And you can feel that worry. Every enforcement case used to send a message. Don't mess with consumers. Now, that vibe's pretty shaky.
But, if you look at what the current Bureau leadership is saying, they're arguing some of these enforcement actions were too heavy-handed. They're talking about restoring fairness, making sure businesses aren't punished unfairly, even bringing up things like racial discrimination complaints that might not have been fully backed by evidence. It's a real push and pull right now. But end of the day, it still means there's a gap for someone to fill, right?
Yeah, that's the tricky bit. So the states are having to step up, try to fill the void, but they just don't have the same budget or resources as the feds. Plus, it creates this crazy patchwork effect. Some states will fight tooth and nail, others might just shrug. And if you're an everyday borrower, like someone signing on for a mortgage or struggling with a shady credit company, you don't want to have to hope your state gets it right.
Exactly. For average mortgage holders or folks buying their first home, it's more confusion while the rules are being written, or in this case, maybe unwritten. The guardrails we rely on, now they depend on which state you're in and on legal resources most people don't have. It's a risky situation for anyone just looking to play by the rules.
So what does this mean for the big picture, right? There's talk about bad actors getting bolder, state agencies being overloaded, even courts struggling because no one knows what rules actually apply. A lot of experts and advocates, people like Richard Cordray and Eric Halperin, who've both been in the thick of it, are saying, look, Congress needs to step in before the whole thing becomes a political football. They're calling for real, bipartisan oversight to keep these reversals from turning into a trend every time a new party shows up in DC.
Yeah, without that oversight, think about the deterrence value the CFPB used to have. It kept companies from pushing the limits, right? Like I'm remembering actually those times when the CFPB took action and they literally helped thousands of people recover money after getting scammed by mortgage firms. Would that even happen now? I don't know. I'm not convinced.
It's wild. I popped down to get coffee yesterday and ended up getting grilled by my barista about whether she'd ever get her loan approved after all this. When even your barista is nervous, you know it's gotten into the bloodstream of regular people. The legal uncertainty, the back and forth, it's got the whole real estate and finance crowd treading water.
I think we talked about this in a couple of our earlier episodes, but the pattern lately is a ton of uncertainty. First with the Fed, now with consumer protections. For anyone investing in property or just planning for the future, you got to keep your eye on both the national and local landscape. It's a lot, even for those of us who do this every day.
Exactly. And look, there's no tidy resolution, not yet anyway. But whether you're a home buyer, investor, or just someone watching from the sidelines, we'll keep bringing you the latest, hopefully with a bit of sanity and maybe a laugh or two. Lior, thanks for unpacking all that with me. We'll see everyone again soon, right?
Of course. Thanks, Ruby. Take care, everyone, and stay tuned for the next one.